Well, look who decided to show up. What do you want, weirdo? Tobi sneers, leaning in close. For a moment, Nia's voice catches in her throat. The fear is overwhelming. But then she remembers all the days she spent crying alone, the whispers, the laughter. She pushes the fear down and speaks, her voice steady but quiet. In the small, tightly knit village of Nkosi, the arrival of Nia and her family is met with whispers. The villagers are set in their ways, wary of anyone different. Nia, a shy 13-year-old girl, doesn't quite fit into their mould. She dresses differently, speaks with a soft accent from her old village, and carries herself with a quiet curiosity. But this curiosity isn't seen as an asset in Nkosi. It's seen as strangeness. From the first day at school, the other children make it clear. Nia is not one of them. Whispers follow her wherever she goes, fueled by her quiet nature. Tobi, the most popular boy, leads the charge. Look at her. Why does she act like she's too good to talk to us? He says loudly, ensuring everyone hears. He doesn't care about Nia. To him, mocking others is a game, and the more people laugh with him, the stronger he feels. The cruelty is immediate. Nia sits alone at lunch, her eyes downcast as she hears the snickering behind her. The whispers turn into blatant mocking as the days pass, with Tobi encouraging others to join in. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? He sneers one afternoon, pushing her books off her desk. The class laughs, some nervously, but most because they don't want to become Tobi's next target. Ignorance feeds their cruelty, and no one stands up for Nia. To them, it's easier to laugh along than to risk becoming the next outsider. Nia doesn't fight back, she doesn't know how. The words hurt, the laughter stings, but more than anything, it's the isolation that breaks her spirit. Every day feels like a struggle just to make it through without crying. And crying is what they want. Nia knows if she shows weakness, it will only get worse. In Nkosi, people don't speak of problems like bullying. They look away, pretending everything is fine as long as it doesn't affect them directly. Nia's parents, Ade and Amara, sense something is wrong, but Nia doesn't tell them. She keeps her pain hidden, afraid they will intervene and make things worse. But one afternoon, Amara overhears two women at the market talking about Nia. That new girl. Have you seen how the children treat her? It's no wonder, really. She's strange, isn't she? One woman says, shaking her head as if Nia's suffering is justified by her differences. Amara's heart sinks, but when she tries to bring it up at home, Nia brushes her off. I'm fine, Mama, she says, forcing a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. The next day at school, things escalate. Tobi and his gang surround Nia as she tries to walk home, blocking her path. Why don't you speak? Huh? You think you're better than us? Tobi jeers, pushing her hard enough to knock her to the ground. The others laugh, cruel, empty laughter that fills the air like poison. Nia scrambles to her feet, her heart pounding in her chest. She wants to scream, wants to fight back, but she doesn't. She knows they'd only laugh harder if she did. Io, a 15-year-old girl who lives near Nia, watches the scene unfold from the shadows. Io is quiet too, but not out of shyness. She's seen enough cruelty in her life to know when to stay silent. She knows what it's like to be different. She was once mocked for being too tall and too serious. But unlike Nia, Io fought back. Her anger was her shield. Io doesn't like what she sees. She watches as Tobi and his friends walk away, leaving Nia alone in the dust. Nia stands there for a moment, frozen, before brushing herself off and continuing home. Io's fists clench at her sides. She knows she should step in, but part of her wonders if it will make things worse. In Nkosi, standing up for someone like Nia could make you a target too. Io knows this all too well, but there's something about Nia's quiet suffering that bothers her. It reminds her too much of her own past. That evening, Ayo makes a decision. She will talk to Nia. Maybe they can help each other. The next day, Nia's walk to school is even more dreaded than usual. Her stomach twists with anxiety as she approaches the classroom, already hearing the familiar whispers before she steps through the door. Tobi is waiting, of course. "Look who it is," he announces, his voice dripping with mockery. "It's the girl who can't even stand up for herself." The room erupts into laughter. Nia tries to slip past him, but Tobi steps in front of her, blocking her path. "Where do you think you're going?" Nia's face burns with humiliation, but she says nothing. She tries to push past him again, but this time Tobi grabs her arm. "You're not going anywhere until you say something," he taunts, his grip tightening. "Come on, say something." The classroom is dead silent, everyone watching, waiting for Nia to break. Some look uncomfortable, but none of them step in. Not even the teacher, who pretends not to notice what's happening. Nia's heart races. She feels the weight of everyone's eyes on her, and for a moment, she wonders if this is how it will always be. Forever the outsider, forever the target. But before she can crumble, a voice from the back of the room cuts through the tension. "Leave her alone, Tobi," Ayo says, her voice calm but firm. The room turns to Ayo, shocked that someone is finally standing up to Tobi. Even Tobi himself seems surprised. He lets go of Nia's arm and turns to face Ayo, his expression hardening. "What's it to you, Ayo?" he sneers. "You're just like her. Weird and quiet. Maybe you should go back to the shadows." But Ayo doesn't flinch. "She's done nothing to you," Ayo says, stepping closer. "You bully her because it makes you feel powerful. But you're not powerful, Tobi. You're just scared." Tobi's face flushes with anger. "Shut up!" he snaps, but Ayo doesn't back down. The entire class is watching now, waiting to see what happens next. Ayo meets Tobi's glare with calm eyes. "You're not scaring anyone. You're pathetic," she says, her voice steady. Tobi clenches his fists, but something in Ayo's unflinching gaze unnerves him. He huffs and walks away, muttering insults under his breath. The class is left in stunned silence, unsure of how to react. Nia looks up at Ayo, her eyes wide with gratitude and shock. No one has ever stood up for her before. But the fight isn't over. Not by a long shot. After Ayo's bold intervention, the gossip spreads like wildfire through the village. People talk, and in Nkosi they talk loudly. The story of how Ayo stood up to Tobi is on everyone's lips. Some admire her courage, but others are not so kind. Parents whisper to one another that Ayo is a troublemaker, that she should have stayed out of it. "Ayo doesn't know her place," they say. "It's not right for a girl to stand up like that. It'll only bring more trouble." But the worst whispers are reserved for Nia. They don't see her as a victim. They see her as the cause of all the unrest. "She's the reason for all this drama," they say behind her back. "If she just fit in like the rest of us, none of this would have happened." Nia hears the gossip everywhere she goes. It eats at her, making her feel even more isolated. Even though Ayo stood up for her, Nia can't shake the feeling that she's the problem, that if she had just been different, none of this would have happened. The cruelty of the village is subtle, but it's there. It's in the way people look at her, the way they talk about her as though she isn't even human. And worst of all, it's in the way they don't see the real problem. They blame her for the bullying, not Tobi. One afternoon, the weight of it all becomes too much for Nia. After another day of being taunted and ignored, she rushes home and locks herself in her room. Her body shakes with silent sobs as she lies on her bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time, she feels utterly hopeless. No matter what she does, the village will always see her as an outsider. She wonders if it will ever change, or if she's destined to be the object of cruelty forever. That night, as she lies awake, a burning thought takes root in her mind. Maybe she needs to fight back. Maybe the only way to stop the cruelty is to confront it head on. Nia wakes up the next morning with a knot of fear in her stomach. Her mind races with the decision she made the night before. She's going to fight back. But as she walks to school, she feels the weight of doubt pressing down on her. How can she, a quiet and shy girl, stand up to someone like Tobi? What if it only makes things worse? Still, something deep inside her tells her she can't stay silent anymore. She has reached her breaking point, and she knows that if she doesn't stand up for herself now, the cruelty will never end. She arrives at school, her heart pounding in her chest, and spots Tobi across the courtyard, laughing with his friends. Nia takes a deep breath and approaches him, her hands trembling. She stands in front of him, feeling the eyes of the other children watching her. Tobi notices her and smirks, already sensing a chance to humiliate her. Well, look who decided to show up. What do you want, weirdo? Tobi sneers, leaning in close. For a moment, Nia's voice catches in her throat. The fear is overwhelming. But then she remembers all the days she spent crying alone, the whispers, the laughter. She pushes the fear down and speaks, her voice steady but quiet. I'm not afraid of you anymore, Tobi, Nia says, surprising even herself with the calm in her voice. You can keep bullying me, but it won't change who I am. And it doesn't make you strong. It just makes you weak. The courtyard falls silent. Everyone is watching, waiting for Tobi's response. His smirk falters, replaced with a look of disbelief. No one has ever spoken to him like this before, especially not Nia. His face reddens with anger as he steps forward, towering over her. You think you can just stand up to me and walk away? Tobi spits, his voice rising. You're nobody here. You don't belong. Nia's heart races, but she doesn't back down. I belong just as much as you do. And if you keep trying to hurt people to feel important, you'll never really have anything. Not respect, not real friends, nothing. Tobi's fists clench at his sides, his body trembling with anger. The children around them are holding their breath, watching this showdown unfold. Nia can see the fury building inside him, and she knows what's coming. She knows he's going to lash out, because bullies like Tobi don't like being challenged. And he does. Tobi grabs Nia by the front of her shirt and shoves her backward hard. She stumbles but doesn't fall. Her body shakes from the impact, but she stands her ground, refusing to let him see how much it hurts. But something unexpected happens. The other children, who had been so quick to laugh before, are now silent. They look at Tobi not with admiration, but with disgust. A girl in the crowd mutters, "That's enough, Tobi," and a boy next to her nods, stepping forward. "Leave her alone, man. This isn't cool anymore." Tobi freezes. He looks around at the faces of his classmates, and for the first time, he sees what they really think of him. They're not laughing with him anymore. They're watching him with disdain. His power over them begins to crumble, and he can feel it slipping away. Anger flashes in his eyes. "Shut up! You all shut up!" he shouts, but his voice cracks with desperation. He takes a step back, his confidence shattered. Nia stands tall, her eyes locked on his. She can see the cracks in his armour now, the insecurity he hides behind his bullying. Tobi glares at her one last time before storming off, leaving the crowd in stunned silence. As Tobi walks away, the tension in the air slowly dissipates. The children around Nia are whispering, some looking at her with newfound respect, others with uncertainty. Nia feels like she's just run a marathon. Her legs are weak and her heart is pounding. But she did it. She stood up to him, and for the first time she feels the weight of her fear lifting. Ayo, who had been watching from a distance, walks over to Nia, a small smile on her face. "You were brave," she says simply, her eyes filled with approval. Nia nods, though she still feels the adrenaline rushing through her veins. "I couldn't stay quiet anymore," she admits, her voice barely above a whisper. The other children begin to disperse, some coming up to Nia to apologise, while others are still too embarrassed to say anything. One girl, Lami, who had often laughed along with Tobi, approaches Nia hesitantly. "I'm sorry," she says, her voice shaky. "I didn't know how to stop him. I didn't want to be bullied too." Nia looks at her, feeling a mix of emotions. She knows how hard it can be to stand up against someone like Tobi, but the cruelty she endured because no one spoke up still stings. "You don't have to follow him," Nia says, her voice gentle but firm. "You don't have to hurt people just to protect yourself." Lami nods, wiping a tear from her eye. "I'll do better," she whispers. Tobi's reputation begins to unravel. Without his followers, his power dwindles. The children who once feared him no longer avoid him in the hallways. They stop laughing at his cruel jokes, and soon enough, Tobi finds himself alone. It isn't long before word of Tobi's actions reaches the village elders. Nkosi is a small village and news travels fast. The elders, led by Elder Kofi, summon Tobi and his family to discuss the growing issue. In a meeting with the elders, Tobi's parents look embarrassed and shocked as Elder Kofi addresses the behaviour that has been allowed to continue for far too long. "Tobi, your actions have caused harm, not just to Nia, but to the unity of this village," Elder Kofi says, his deep voice filled with disappointment. "We do not tolerate cruelty in Nkosi. If you wish to be part of this community, you must learn respect." Tobi, for the first time, is forced to confront the consequences of his actions. His parents, ashamed, scold him for disgracing their family, but deep down, Tobi feels more humiliated than sorry. But the truth is, even Tobi isn't sure why he bullied Nia. Maybe it was because she seemed different, or maybe it was because making others feel small made him feel important. But now, standing in front of the elders, he realises that the power he once held was never real. The village begins to change after that day. The bullying stops, and Nia is no longer seen as an outsider. The other children, even those who once laughed at her, begin to accept her as part of their community. Nia still feels the scars from what she endured, but there's a new sense of belonging that grows inside her. Ayo and Nia become inseparable. Together, they form a bond that no one can break. Ayo teaches Nia how to be strong, not just for herself, but for others. And Nia teaches Ayo that strength doesn't always come from fighting. It can also come from resilience. Nia's parents, proud of her for standing up to Tobi, notice the change in their daughter. She walks with her head held high now, her once timid steps replaced with a newfound confidence. For the first time in a long time, Nia feels like she belongs. The people of Nkosi learn from what happened between Nia and Tobi. The gossip that once fueled the bullying dies down, replaced by a deeper understanding of the harm that words and actions can cause. The village elders begin holding meetings with the children, teaching them about respect, kindness, and the power of standing up for what is right. Even Tobi, though still struggling with his pride, begins to change. He no longer holds the same power he once did, and slowly he starts to understand the hurt he caused. It's not an immediate transformation. There are no overnight apologies or quick fixes. But over time, Tobi becomes quieter, more thoughtful. The most important lesson that Nia learns isn't just about standing up for herself. It's about the strength found in community, the power of kindness, the courage to be different, and the importance of speaking up when things aren't right. The village of Nkosi will never be the same. Nia's bravery has left a mark, not just on the children, but on everyone. The people who once turned a blind eye to cruelty now understand the damage it can cause. And while not everyone changes overnight, the seeds of empathy have been planted. As time passes, Nia grows into her role in the village. She becomes a symbol of strength, not because she fought back, but because she endured. She protected herself and taught the village a lesson about the power of unity, resilience, and standing up for what is right. Nia knows the world isn't perfect. She knows there will always be people like Tobi, people who use cruelty to hide their own fears. But now she also knows that she has the strength to face them. And as she walks through the village, her head held high, Nia smiles. Because she is no longer afraid. She is home. Thank you for watching this powerful story about standing up for yourself, overcoming cruelty, and teaching important lessons about kindness. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more inspiring content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on new stories that will move your heart and challenge your mind. We'd love to hear your thoughts about the story. Did a particular moment resonate with you? How did you feel about Nia's journey? Let us know in the comments section below. Sharing your insights helps our community grow and encourages more people to talk about the issues that matter. If you believe others could benefit from this message, share the video with your friends and family. Together, we can spread the lessons of courage, resilience, and kindness to the world.